Hey, soo dhawow halkani waa kasheekee maanta magaalada baashaalowna alxamdulilah rabilcaalamiin qabowga jira maanta maasha allah ilaahay noo naxariis maaragtay nolosha maaragtay bismi illaahi raxmaani raxiim walaa tawakkaltu cala allah laa xawla walaa quwata illaa billah بسم الله لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم بسم الله لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم بسم الله لا يضر مع اسمه شيء ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم صحيح تحيا باب خير ما في هاي ونكسني ما في هاي ونكسني
Is the extreme cold that has settled over the region. Joining us right now is our meteorologist, Spence on guard with more. I'm going to assume that it's possible that temperature in Cook, Minnesota, the wind chill that I saw earlier that was almost 60 below zero, that might not be accurate, or is it?
Yeah, they've been having some issues with that sensor. Remember, they were at 38 below zero a couple of times last week, and I think it did something with the sensor. But it is reading a 40 below temperature right now with the wind at 5 miles an hour, which would calculate out to be almost a 60 below zero wind chill. But again, that particular sensor might be suspect, but we don't even need that one. Thief River Falls is reporting a 49 below zero wind chill right now, so close enough. A lot of places are coming cold. 40s below zero wind chills are pretty common across northern and western Minnesota right now, with 30s below zero, even in the Twin Cities and southeastern Minnesota. In fact, we've dropped another degree, Kathy. It's 13 below an MSP at the wind chill of 35 below zero, 24 below for the actual temperature in Park Rapids. Boston, Duluth sitting at 16 below zero, 10 below, even in southeastern Minnesota and Rochester, where wind chills are also in the 30s below zero. So extreme cold warnings for most of northern, western, central Minnesota through 10 a.m. Cold weather advisory for the Twin Cities, but then that becomes an extreme cold warning tonight. So statewide extreme cold warnings for the overnight hours tonight.
By the way, will this be so really we're not going to see much in the way of movement for temperatures then? Mostly sub-zero statewide for a high?
Yeah, today's going to stay sub-zero all across the state. 3 below for a high in the Twin Cities, maybe to as cold as only 10 below for a high in portions of western Minnesota, places like maybe Alexandria to Moorhead. Should see sunshine, though. Northwest winds 10 to 15, but even this afternoon, those wind chills are going to be in the 20 to 30 below zero range, so not a lot of improvement there. And then overnight tonight, one of the coldest nights of winter, if not rivaling some of the coldest temperatures we've seen in southern Minnesota. Widespread teens below zero in southern Minnesota, 20s and 30s below zero to the north. I think MSP gets down to around 17 below. 19 below is the coldest we've been so far. That was back in January. Winds will be light. The wind chills 30 below zero to as cold as 45, maybe 50 below zero overnight again tonight.
Wow. And they continue cold through midweek?
Through midweek, yeah, more sub-zero nights. Single-digit highs. By Thursday, Friday, we should see teens pretty much across the state for highs. And really no snow to speak of this week. It's going to keep the jet stream and the storm track well to the south, but 40 degrees by Sunday again, Kathy. We're in for a heat wave in the next week.
Oh, for goodness sake. All right, we'll talk later. Thank you. Support comes from MentorMate, blending human-centered design, artificial intelligence, and global engineering. MentorMate works to deliver intuitive and innovative digital products for your business. Design-led, AI-enabled, next-engineered. MentorMate.com.
A wager for the history books gives us a glimpse into our future.
Marketplace Money Report is supported by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com.
For Marketplace, I'm Noah Tucker and for David Brancaccio. One of the most famous bets in the past half century, at least among economists, wasn't about the Super Bowl or a presidential election. No, it was about the price of metals. That is, whether 5 critical metals would be worth more or less between 1980 and 1990. Really, this was about how we consume natural resources and whether we would just gobble up more and more as the human population grew, or figure out a better way. Researchers are now looking at this question all over again. Marketplace's senior economics contributor Chris Farrell went back to the future along with my colleague David Brancaccio.
What's the full story on this crazy bet? So it's a biologist and environmentalist Paul Ehrlich, and he predicted population growth would deplete the planet's resources, and the increasing scarcity of resources would drive commodity prices higher. Now, this iconoclastic economist, Julius Hyman, he just didn't buy this forecast. He believed human innovation, ingenuity,
Hello.
commodity shortages, prices would fall over time.
Hey, do you see me? Hello. Push the lift that thing, the seat. Yeah. Okay. Let it go. Push this one. Okay. Come on in. All right. Man, today's cold, right? Let me. Cold, right? They said below something. Are you feeling the heat? Yeah? You say no? How about now?
artists decry an AI auction. Happy birthday to Minnesota's Norman County seat Ada. Norman County was established on this date in 1881. Other birthdays include country singer Brian White, who is 51. TV personality Paris Hilton is 44. It's 7:01, and the news is next. Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corba Coleman. Russia says it sent top diplomats to Saudi Arabia to meet with U.S. counterparts and talk about establishing peace in Ukraine. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has arrived in Saudi Arabia, but his meeting schedule has not been publicly disclosed. Ukraine's president is not there, and nor are any European leaders. Barry Schultz reports the heads of 8 European countries and NATO's chief are meeting today in Paris to discuss their next steps.
French President Emmanuel Macron has invited leaders from Denmark, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Poland, Spain, the UK, NATO, and European Union institutions to brainstorm about their approach to the U.S.-led peace process for Ukraine. Christine Brzezina with the German Marshall Fund says there's a lot to assess.
What is a spending plan and a capability plan that they can do for themselves? What is their recommendation to Ukraine?
The U.S. says European governments will be expected to monitor any potential ceasefire, so Brzezina says they have reason to be displeased about being excluded.
For Washington to sideline Europe in this process is a deep insult.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also wants Europe involved in negotiations. For NPR News, I'm Terry Schultz in Brussels.
As of today, President Trump has been in office for about a month. During that time, there's been a lot of activity from the White House. NPR's Tamara Keith says Trump is taking a very expansive view of his executive authority.
He is blowing past statutes like the law requiring 30 days notice to Congress before firing inspectors general, and running straight into significant constitutional questions. He's trying to redefine birthright citizenship, something enshrined in the Constitution. He's freezing federal funds and trying to erase agencies that were created by Congress without going back to Congress for the authority to do it.
NPR's Tamara Keith reporting. New York City Democratic Mayor Eric Adams is resisting pressure to step down. The U.S. Justice Department moved last week to drop federal corruption charges against him. NPR's Brian Mann reports a growing number of Democrats saying Adams should resign.
Those calling for Adams to leave office now include New York's lieutenant governor, top state senators, and Democratic members of Congress who say Adams struck a deal with the DOJ, promising to help with immigration crackdowns if his criminal charges are dropped. A number of top DOJ lawyers resigned over the deal, but speaking at a Baptist church on Sunday, Adams said he's staying put. New York's Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul has the power to remove Adams from office. Hochul says she needs more time to review the situation. Meanwhile, Adams faces re-election in November. Brian Mann, NPR News, New York.
On this President's Day, U.S. stock markets will be closed today. You're listening to NPR News.
Support for NPR comes from USPS. USPS Ground Advantage Service keeps customers in the know when their shipment leaves the dock, when it's on the move, and when it's delivered. Learn more at USPS.com/in-the-know. This is NPR.
For NPR News, the Twin Cities, I'm Phil Picardi. Extreme cold warnings and cold weather advisories are posted across the region. They remain in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. Wind chill readings are in the 30s and 40s below zero in parts of Minnesota. It'll be a frigid week with temperatures in the Twin Cities now forecast to reach the teens until Friday. Many of the region's schools are closed today for the President's Day holiday, and some planning to be in session have canceled due to the cold. Others have moved to delayed or online schedules. The Minneapolis City Council last week postponed a proposal to move violence intervention programs to Hennepin County, but scrutiny of those programs continues this week. Ari Spencer reports.
Councilmember Robin Walmsley took the proposal off the table, but said she will hold the department accountable, particularly through actions in an oversight committee she chairs.
I will be expecting NSC leadership to make presentations on their plans to run these programs
and to be basically do your work, do your homework and show what metrics of success looks like for these programs. Because it has not been shown this entire 2 years, and there's been no data to affirm that.
The Neighborhood Safety Department, or NSD, is expected to give a presentation with an update on their process for contracting violence prevention groups. The department has had to change its processes after the city settled a lawsuit that alleged the city arbitrarily awarded millions of dollars in contracts without oversight. I'm Corey Spencer.
Authorities in New York say an investigation into the murder of Oakdale transgender man Sam Nordquist continues. Nordquist, who is 24, was found dead in a field last week. His mother, Linda Nordquist, told KARE 11 she will continue to pursue justice for her son.
These people that did this to Sam are pure evil. They're not even human. And we will get justice for you, Sam. We will. And so, if it takes the last breath out of you, you will.
Police arrested and charged 5 people with second-degree murder in connection with Nordquist's death. Authorities have not ruled out classifying the murder as a hate crime. A vigil for Nordquist is planned for 7 o'clock tonight at the Minnesota State Capitol. In sports, the Minnesota Frost lost to the Boston Fleet yesterday 4-2. The Frost have lost the last 3 games. They play at Montreal tomorrow night. The Gopher women's basketball team lost to Oregon yesterday 76-70. Both the Gophers and Ducks have 19 wins in the season. Minnesota plays at June. This is NPR News.
Support comes from CenterPoint Energy, reminding Minnesota homeowners that you can improve natural gas energy efficiency and reduce energy costs in your home with rebates and programs from CenterPoint Energy. Learn more at centerpointenergy.com/futureending.
Programming is supported by mHealth Fairview Healthcare, whose St. John's Hospital was named the Twin Cities top hospital for cardiology by Healthgrades. Learn more at mhealthfairview.org/healthcare.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Emil Martinez in Los Angeles, California.
And I'm Layla Falden in Washington, D.C. Good morning. Coming up, Christie's Auction House is pushing ahead with a controversial auction of art made by artificial intelligence. First,
As high-level American and Russian delegations are expected to gather in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to begin negotiations to end the war in Ukraine, European leaders are meeting in Paris today after being cut out of those negotiations.
after Trump officials traveled to Europe last week, it became clear the post-war security order in Europe that's been in place 80 years is more.
We go now to NPR's Eleanor Beersley in Paris to hear more about this. So, Eleanor, why has this shook up Europe?
Well, Europeans knew the Trump administration was going to be a rougher ride than the Biden administration, but they still held out hope that the U.S. and Europe could work together, especially on ending the war in Ukraine. But that illusion burst this week. First, there was U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's visit to NATO. He basically told European allies the U.S. has bigger priorities than Asia and Europe needs to take care of itself. That was followed by the Munich Security Conference this weekend, where Vice President J.D. Vance gave a scathing criticism of European democracy, a speech one European leader called, quote, fascist and anti-European. Vance also met with a far-right opposition leader in Germany while refusing to meet with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Then there were the comments of U.S. advisor to Ukraine and Russia, General Keith Kellogg, who told the Europeans, we'll take your interests into account, but you won't be at the negotiating table to end the war.
What about President Trump? How was this call with Russian President Vladimir Putin received there?
Well, that was the cherry on the cake, President Trump gave no heads up to European allies or Ukraine before holding, by all accounts, what was a friendly hour-and-a-half phone call with Putin, who Europeans consider an aggressor and pariah. Trump even went so far as to speak of lifting sanctions and bringing Russia back into the fold of nations. Leaders left Munich yesterday morose and stunned. Elie Tenenbaum told me. He's a security expert at the French Institute for International Relations. Let's listen.
So this has been their sort of nightmare scenario that we're going to be bypassed by the United States to negotiate peace deals over their heads.
And he says without its European allies by its side, the U.S. might try to strong-arm Ukraine into a bad deal.
I know, big meeting today in Paris. Who's going to be there? What's on the agenda?
Well, the leaders of 8 nations are meeting. It's streamlined so they can move quickly. France, Britain, Poland, Italy, Germany, Spain, the Netherlands, and Denmark. Plus